Welcome. You're listening to The Aligned Self, Conversations in Creating a Conscious and Abundant Life. This is Daniel Denovi. I'll be your guide and host. Let's see just where we can take this. Hello, friend, and welcome back to The Aligned Self. If you're a regular podcast listener, you probably noticed that I did not release any podcast episodes last week. Frankly, I've been in a breakdown. Now, that sounds bad, and I guess in some respects it is, but I should have known better. You see, in episode 45, I declared that I was going to craft a new relationship to energy, transform my relationship with energy. Now, I don't know how long you've been in the self-improvement game, but anytime you declare a transformation, there's definite breakdowns that occur because you're tearing things down. You're tearing down old structures to build new ones. You see, although I've had an elevated relationship with energy for years now, I haven't necessarily taken it seriously as a practice, and I declared that I was going to do that. So, of course, I started the next day. I found a guy who has a unique relationship with energy, and he's able to interact with the physical world, move plants, make them dance, crush bottles, plastic bottles, all seemingly from utilizing energy and hand movements. And so I began experimenting with the trees in the backyard. And I effectively made them dance to the movements of my hands from about 20 feet away. And I was able to create a little wind vortex around my body, bringing leaves around in like a little tornado around me. But what I didn't realize is that I hadn't done the groundwork, the fundamentals. And the next 3 days, I had extremely low energy. I was so tired. I could barely move. I could hardly think straight. And on top of that, I'm trying to rebuild the computer and my database, and that's mostly lost. And I've had to recreate stuff, and it just was a struggle. Like systems that I had in place fell away. My daily routine, I'm going to have to rework my daily routine, which isn't really a routine, but but it flows from my heart. And I realized that I needed to pull in some structure in some different places. And if you're getting the gist of the story, there were several things that were familiar that are now in breakdown. Now, understand that any time that you engage in a new adventure, a new journey, you're going to experience breakdowns. Now, a breakdown is when systems that were supposed to work or have worked or that you're familiar with no longer work. Or they work in a way that is no longer effective, no longer fulfills the full promise of the intention to begin with. Now, on the other side of a breakdown, there is a breakthrough. On the other side of chaos, there is clarity. So in the process or the path from breakdown to breakthrough, there is the getting through the going through. And just understand, again, it is par for the course. It's part of the path. It's part of the program. And part of that breakdown is to build new structures, new neural nets, new ideas, new conceptions, new ideas, new definitions of who you are for the world. You're actually creating a new relationship with God, Goddess, all that is. And what gets me is that I knew this. I know this process goes on. Yet I was in the thinking that I could transform my relationship to energy, which if you think about it, relationship governs everything in our life. And I thought I could just add it to my to-do list. And I didn't realize the real impact in multiple areas in my life. Now, it's a good thing, but there is some necessary roughness going on. I love this quote by Adyashanti. I really don't follow Adyashanti that much, but this is probably one of the most enlightening things I've ever heard him say or read from him. And it goes like this: enlightenment is a destructive process. It has nothing to do with becoming better or being happier. Enlightenment is the crumbling away of untruth. It's seeing through the facade of pretense. It's the complete eradication of everything we imagined to be true. And so when these old structures fall away, it's uncomfortable. In addition, I'm working with some clients in my Aligned Self program, redesigning your self-identity, self-concept. And when you're a facilitator in that kind of process, you don't get through it unscathed. The program works on you as well as your clients. So I'm in the process, too, of redefining aspects of my self-identity, my self-concept. And frankly, I didn't realize, I wasn't consciously aware of the impact that energy, or working with energy in a different way, was going to have on my self-concept and my self-identity, my expression in the world. So in me telling this to you, it's a cleverly disguised, or not so cleverly disguised, excuse for why I did not publish any podcast episodes last week. You see, I want to be better than that. I want to regularly publish 3 episodes every week. And we're coming up now on 50 episodes. And part of me structuring or restructuring my routine is making it easier for me to record, publish, upload the podcast episodes in a timely manner to where you have some continuity and actually count on the, a specific day that they'll be released. So what you just heard was my excuse or rationale on why I did not publish episodes last week, me admitting that there were no episodes last week, and my recommitment to my agreement, my promise, implied promise, that because I didn't really tell anybody that I wanted to do, I think I may have said that I wanted to do 3 episodes a week. Ideally, I'd like to release them on Tuesday, Thursday, and then the 5-minute Friday. Okay, with all that said, there has to be a bigger lesson in this. And it is that there is going to be some necessary roughness. And just understand that that's all par for the course. And you've probably been more than aware of it over the last year and a half with the pandemic and the vaccine and whether or not you should take the vaccine or mask or not mask, lockdown, do I move about freely? There's a lot of conflicting information. And frankly, that's really, politics isn't really what this podcast is about. Now, if I can utilize an example that's occurring out in the real world, out into the marketplace, that has to do with utilizing your intuition, discernment, just a modeling of questioning. What are the facts? I have so many more questions because there's so many conflicting facts. When you really dig down and look at the information that's being put out there on both sides, on the pro and I'm not political. I'm like right down in the middle. I want small government, but I want a government for the people. And so I don't want to tell you or presume to be able to tell you what position to take. All I really want you to do as a listener is to be nice to people. Realizing that everyone's trying to work things out. Everyone's trying to get a handle on what the most appropriate thing is to do. And if I have a stand, it's that each and every person should have the freedom to make their own choices in this with the available information and not be dictated on what they have to do or must do. I was just chatting with Sarah Wakeman of the For the Love of Two Hippies podcast. She's also the admin for the page for the Subconscious Mind Mastery podcast. And we were just acknowledging with each other on how much we dislike, we didn't use the H word, how much we dislike how vehemently nasty people are to one side or the other. If you take the vaccine, some people are saying you're stupid. If you don't take the vaccine, other people are calling you, this is the pandemic of the unvaccinated. Neither are true. But there is a prevalence of fear out there that it just doesn't sit well. If you're empathic, I'm sure you'll agree, you find it rather, for lack of a better word, disgusting. Yet part of our role as an empath, as clairsentient, is to transform the energy, transmute it into a higher vibration. And I've yet to do the podcast on empaths. You may have wondered if you're empathic, Why do you feel so much? Why do you perceive so much from other people's feelings, other people's energy? Because your role is not just to sit there and be impacted. Your role is actually to manage that energy and transmute it, raise the vibration. And because of that role, empaths actually have a greater ability to transform the consciousness on the planet than any other form of intuitive expression. But if you do consider yourself empathic and you feel that you've been at the mercy of energy, at the mercy of other people's emotions, at the mercy of other people's decisions, then understand that part of your spiritual path, part of your responsibility in being awake and being alert, having a certain level of awareness, is that you need to command your own energy, create your own boundaries, and learn how to transmute, raise the vibration of other people's energy. And I promise that I'll have a full episode on that sometime soon and a companion meditation that you can utilize to assist yourself in raising your energy and raising the energy of those around you. And as you may know, I've mentioned it in past episodes. You can go to yesdaniel.com/43 and download over 30 activities that you can do, engage in to raise your vibration, to ground, to clear and reconnect to your energy. Frankly, over the past week, the only reason I'm here today behind the microphone is that I've done those things. I did almost everything on that list to raise my vibration, to reconnect with my energy. So again, if you want to download that list, go to yesdaniel.com/43, and the link is always in the show notes. So in addition just to being nice to other people, being a force of love out in the world, be gentle with yourself. I know how you guys are with yourself sometimes, the things you say to yourself. I can hear it. In fact, I could hear it when I first had my spiritual awakening when I was 28. I heard it so loudly, I could barely hear my own self think. And so this is how I know about creating boundaries. But it's how to declare your own boundaries and isolate your own energy and not be at the mercy of external events. And frankly, we have our job cut out for us because there is a lot of dense energy going around the marketplace, going around the world. And we need to be continually gentle with ourselves, continually in the process of self-care, of house cleaning, so to speak, mental house cleaning, energetic house cleaning. And as I'm taking an assessment of my line or the way my mind's working at the moment, I'm kind of rambling and beginning to go down some rabbit holes. But let me just say this one last thing about boundaries before I move on, and that is boundaries are not placed there for other people. They're placed there to protect yourself. Okay, I started this episode to just kind of explain the things that I was going through and just reaffirmed or I guess reconnect to the idea that there is some necessary roughness that we go through when we transform. When we up-level our game, old structures will fall away. There is a purification, a burning away. And you can think, that's why my symbol is the phoenix. You'll see it on virtually everything that I do. It is the rebirth, arising out of the ashes to become anew. And without a doubt, we are in that period of history, and you chose to be here in one form or another, one reason or another. You are part of this whole process of transformation. Things are going to be quite different over the coming years, and exactly how, I'm not sure. I have my wishes, I have my intentions, and that's where I'm putting my energy. And it's been continually reinforced in my experience that the greatest thing that I can do is to be a force of love in the world, a force of compassion. So, of all the different things I've said, if I have one takeaway, one wish for you, is that if you're going through some necessary roughness, if you're going through a breakdown, that you understand that you're not alone. We are in this together. We are in this as family, kindred spirits. a community. So you are always welcome to reach out to me. You can reach out to me through Facebook. If you're not yet a member of our Facebook listeners group, the Align Self Podcast Listeners Facebook group. Come on over and join us. When the question is answered, or when the question is asked, how did you hear about the Facebook group? You simply say, on the podcast. So there you can ask questions in the feed. You can direct message me, although sometimes they end up in some weird mailbox. You can always email me at support@danov.com. And at this point in time, there is no request, no question, no concern that goes unanswered. That may not always be the case, but I try to give a personal response if it doesn't necessarily warrant a personal response, or I feel like it could be a podcast episode. Then you help build this program. You help build the entire podcast. And because if you're going through it, if you have a question, it is a concern of yours. More than likely, it's a concern of somebody else's. And I hear that stuff. I hear it. And if it's something that I can use to teach other people and answer for multitudes, then you're doing a great service. So this brings me to one more thing. Your personal work, like you transforming your own self, drawing your boundaries, raising your vibration, literally transforms the world. You could be the one, which means like if you have the whole of humanity and we're balancing on one side or the other, and through your own personal transformation, your personal growth, you could be the one that tips the scale, the ting, and everything falls over to the side of love, compassion, and a greater awareness, a greater enlightenment. You could very well be the one. And if you're listening to this now, consider yourself the one. So your personal growth, the investment in yourself, is worth it, not only for yourself, but for the whole of humanity, the whole of the universe. So this is Daniel Danov. Thank you for listening. This has been a little bit of a ramble today, but I so appreciate you. And until next time, follow your bliss and live the epic life.